Mega Brood. British woman, 26, adopts 14 orphans after gap year trip to Africa, and they are thriving now. They have a family home. This was written by Becky Pemberton, published on October 18th, 2020, for The Sun. Now, I want to read this story because I just came across it while I was perusing the internet. And it's ironic that this story takes place in Tanzania because I'm actually traveling to Tanzania tomorrow. For anybody who's new to my channel, I'm a black American currently traveling abroad, backpacking through Africa. I'm in Mauritius right now. We've been here for about 3 months, my wife and I. And Tanzania is the next leg of our journey. And I'm really excited to go to Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Mwanza, Zanzibar, of course, and all of those places. Now, there's a lot I want to say about this story, and I want to start covering more African stories on my channel because I believe there's so much content here in Africa, right? And a lot of my videos based on Africa have gotten a lot of views. I don't do any content just for views, just for clicks, just for likes. I do it because I'm actually wanting to learn. I want to be informed. I want to be, enraptured in the stories by all over the world, right? Now, let's get this out of the way. Let's get this out of the way. A lot of people find this story funny or entertaining because they think maybe, possibly, this young British white woman wants to jump on some of these young African men, or they think some of these young African men want to jump on this white woman, right? I'm not saying everybody's thinking that, but I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud. I think a lot of people's minds have been warped by, images related to black men's sexuality based on the media and pornography. I've covered that in another video. Go watch the video I made about the fetishization of the black men's genitalia, and also, this push in pornography during the past decade of interracial couplings, right? And trust me, I'm from America, where it's not uncommon to hear about a young female teacher jumping on one of their students, one of their people that they're supposed to be protecting and overlooking, and taking advantage of them sexually, right? That's something that I don't encourage. I don't encourage that at all. That's wrong. But I'm not going to go that angle in the story. I'm just saying, if you're looking at the story and finding it entertaining for that, I understand why you think that, but there's more to the story that I want to say. So, let's start reading. A young British woman has become mum to a staggering 14 Tanzanian children she met after volunteering in an orphanage on her gap year. Letty McMaster, 26, was just 18 years old when a month-long trip volunteering at an orphanage in Africa changed her life forever. This is Letty McMaster right here in the center, 26, from Kent, has adopted 14 orphans after a gap year, which is good. I encourage everybody to travel. One of the things that made me start this YouTube channel was me sharing my experiences as a black American traveling. And I think traveling opens up the mind. It allows you to see the world differently than what it was before to you. And it allows you to meet new people and learn new things and understand how the world receives you. So traveling is a good thing. And also humanitarianism is a good thing. Positive. She ended up staying for 3 years to support the children she had met, and when the orphanage shut down, Letty took in 9 youngsters who would have been left homeless. 7 years on, she lives with the children after becoming legal guardian to them all, as well as 5 more kids she met on the streets or at a safe house she runs. Letty from Tunbridge Wells, Kent, said, "These children are my whole life. I raised them all on my own, and they keep me going through the long hours of juggling everything. I'd always had in mind that I wanted to help street children, so my family and friends weren't surprised, but I never expected to end up doing all this." Positive. I have nothing bad to say about this woman. I mean, it's good if you want to dedicate your life to trying to help other people. I know I could be doing more with my life to try to help other people. I do some advocacy on my channel by talking about mass shootings, advocating for gun control to help save more American lives, and other topics related to, white supremacy and things related and how that affects the minds of people and hurts real people, such as what we saw in Ukraine earlier this year. But this woman is actually doing real physical work, and I salute that. I salute that. She's an inspiration, I would say, right? Here's a close-up picture of here. I will continue reading. I am the parental figure in the house. Some of the little boys who never had a parent view me as their mom, but most see me more as a big sister, and I'm not that much older than some of them. I'm just like any mom raising teenagers. I made a commitment to them, and I just feel so blessed to have two families. Letty had just completed her A levels in 2013 when she flew to Tanzania with the plan of volunteering at an orphanage for a month before returning home for university. But she said she soon realized the children were being physically and mentally abused, claiming staff only fed the kids once a day and pocketed the cash donated for schooling by tourists. There are some people who would hear Letty's story and say, well, there are so many homeless kids in the UK. There's so many poor children that are being abused in the UK. Why don't you help them? I don't take that view. You should try to help whoever you want to help. Helping somebody is better than not helping anybody, right? And a lot of the people who will criticize her and say, why don't you help people in your own country? They don't even help people in their own country. So we don't listen to the haters here. We try to help everybody across the world. And it doesn't matter if that person who is helping or being helped is white, black, Asian, whatever ethnicity, we should all try to help all humanity. I support all humanitarians, and this is an actual humanitarian, right? Letty said the children are her whole life. Letty said, I chose to fly to Tanzania after seeing figures that showed hundreds of thousands of children living on the streets. Volunteerism and white saviorism at this orphanage is why I've done all this. I saw the awfully damaging impact it was having on the children and how it was fueling ongoing cycles of abuse. Many orphanages are like this. It's just all a money making scheme and an exploitation of the children. The kids still don't understand it, and I'm sure the Westerners had no idea. They thought they were helping, but were actually causing so much damage. The abuse the children were going through in the orphanage was horrendous, and I saw the impact that it had on the kids, and I knew immediately something had to change. I couldn't leave them in the situation, so my new goal was to get them a family home. This is beautiful. Volunteerism and white saviorism. I was going to talk about this. By the way, I haven't read this entire article before starting this video. I'm reading and learning as I go. So this is all new to me. This is real reaction you're getting. But it's so beautiful to hear white people specifically have some self-consciousness about how they are perceived and also about the systems in play that allow them to do some of the things. A lot of people would hear this story, only look at the headline, of course, and say, oh, this woman has a white savior complex. She's blind to the privilege that she has to fly to a whole nother country and a whole other continent and adopt all of these children and feel so good about herself that she's helping these poor black people, right? But she actually has some, at least from what she's saying here, at least maybe she's using the right keywords to get a person like me on her side, whatever. But she's noting that as a white woman from a Western wealthy country, volunteerism is a real industry. She knows that many of these places that are orphanages that, make people pay to come and help orphans and refugees and that sort of thing are in a business. They're not in the business of helping the children. They're in the business of getting money out of the pockets of the Westerners who want to take Instagram photos in Tanzania saying that they're feeding, poor orphans and stuff like that. Beautiful. And also white saviorism, people coming in wanting to feel good about helping these poor black people, then going back to their countries and just sharing pictures and telling stories and writing books about it and acting like they're better than the rest of humanity, right? She's doing more work that actually needs to be done, being actually there, staying there, seeing these children grow to actually have good lives. This story was written in 2020. I don't know if 2 years later this woman ended up going crazy or, got pregnant by one of the kids or ended up killing a kid or just went back to the UK because she got tired of Tanzania. I don't know what happened in this story, but I think the main point is people need to do more if to actually help Africa, to help all of humanity, not just Africans in particular, but we need to do more to actually help people, right? We don't need to just sit on our computers and type about, Africa being a place that needs development and growth. Why don't you go to Africa and get some and try to stabilize it? Why don't you go to Africa to try to develop it? I've lived in Africa, in Tunisia for about 2.5 years, right? Lived in Mauritius now for 3 months, going to live in Tanzania, hopefully, inshallah, for about 3 months or so. And Africa is wide open. I'm not saying Africa is open for exploitation, it's open for opportunity. When I went to Tunisia, I came to Tunisia with nothing and ended up becoming an English teacher and ended up changing my life, right? There are so many opportunities in Africa, especially for foreigners to go there, make money, grow businesses, and actually help people. Whatever you want to do, Africa is open. The people are great, welcoming, friendly, all that stuff. I have nothing but positive things to say about Africa as a whole. Have I had bad experiences? Yes. Have I had bad experiences with individuals? Yes. Am I not afraid to critique entire cultures and systems? Yes. But that does not mean that as a whole, Africa is a pretty great place. And I'm sure Letty discovered that too. And it's very, very beautiful, very good to see white people have some actual self consciousness about their place in the world. So I'm going to continue. Letty founded Street Children Iringa as a UK registered charity. When the orphanage was closed by the council in 2016, Letty fought for the right to open her own home in Iringa for the 9 children left homeless. She founded Street Children Iringa as a UK registered charity and has taken another 5 children into her home after meeting them on the streets and through the safe houses that she runs. None of the children were attending school and lived in between the streets and the orphanage when she first met them, but their lives have changed immensely since moving into Letty's home. One of her boys, Aaliyah, was found on the streets in the middle of winter wearing just a t-shirt after his mom passed away. Sorry, I have pop-ups on my screen. People are texting me all the time and stuff, and I also have work in about a few minutes, so pardon the pop-ups. All right, but I'll continue. He is now in the top 20 of pupils in his year at his school. Fred, 11, had not eaten for days when he was spotted cowering in a dump. That's horrible. That's horrible. You have homeless street children. At least she's trying to do something. For anybody who's going to attack her or anybody who's going to criticize her, most likely, if you're an American watching this, you identify as Christian, right? A lot of black Americans are Christian. For any black Americans who are going to come in here and attack this woman saying that she's, doing white saviorism, or, I'm just fawning over Becky for doing something good. Jesus, the guy that you proclaim to be the Lord and Savior, gave his life to the homeless, to the destitute, to the poor, to the sick, to the prostitutes, to the thieves, to the killers, to the murderers. This woman is doing the same. So if you're going to judge her, go ahead and judge your Lord and Savior. Anyway, I'll continue. This is beautiful what she's doing. So here are pictures of the kids. They look happy. They look healthy. Since moving into the family home in 2019, he's been accepted into a prestigious football academy. After his parents died, when he was just 2 years old, Idi had spent most of his life between the streets, gangs, and the orphanage where Letty first met him. He moved into the family home in 2016 and is now a talented boxer and musician, with his music being played on local radio stations. Letty said, "Since having a place to call home, they have all excelled in education and in every aspect of their lives. Goth's birth is one of the boys that I've looked after for the past 7 years and is now studying at one of the top private schools in the country and is the number one pupil in his year. Eva is 19 and is chairperson of her year at university. She's doing so well and has got a volunteer internship with an international NGO. Obviously, it takes time to settle into the house from street life and traumatic experiences, and it can take a while to get them into family life, routine, and leaving street behavior behind. Rosarlo is studying to become a tour guide at the national park, whilst Pilsen and Idi have recorded music that is played on local radios. Seeing their drive, determination, and success is what makes all the balancing that I have to do worth it." This is a picture, I believe, of the home in Iringa. None of the children were attending school and lived in between the streets and the orphanage when she first met them and gave them a home. She added, "I decided I wanted to create a place for these children to call home where they would be safe, stable, and loved and no longer treated as if they were in a zoo. I wanted them to have a normal family life, and the charity has helped to pay for running the home and food costs as well as medical and educational needs." She lives in Iringa with the children 9 months of the year, coming to the UK for the rest of the year to fundraise through sponsored events and an annual charity ball. She often works long 12-hour days, but managed to graduate with a degree in development studies from the University of SOAS London. So, just like mums and dads around the world, she squeezed revision and essays into the few hours after the kids went to bed. Single Letty, who is fluent in Swahili, said, I can't even give you a normal day. It changes every single day. Good job on learning Swahili. Very hard language to learn. I've struggled with Arabic, as you've seen on my channel, for some time now and can only put together barely coherent sentences. But it's great that, she actually ingratiated herself to the local culture, picked up an African language, and really is giving back to the people there. You know, it's basically a 12-hour day, if not longer, waking up early but not going to sleep until very late. When everyone comes home from school, they've all got their own stories to share and homework, football training, and music commitments. It's a family home all the way. They see me as a big sister. I've raised them so they feel I'm the parent, and then the two workers I have are like their aunties. I'd love to have my own children in the future, but obviously my life is so hectic that dating isn't something that I have time to think about right now. Letty also runs a safe house, which she opens 3 days a week to give street children a safe place to come and access shelter, food, and resources. Accompanied by the eldest boys in her home, she takes to the street at night to find homeless children in need. Letty said, there are always more children that need help out here in Tanzania. The most challenging part in what I do is securing the funding to support all of this. Over the next 5 years, my plan is to help as many children off the streets as possible. If these children are not guided on a path, they very often get caught up in gangs, drugs, violence, and criminal activities with the risk of jail or even ending up dead. The more donations the charity is able to get, the more children and young adults that are supported in a life off the streets. Bravo. Bravo. And that's the end of the article. On my channel, I've been covering some very dark topics such as, the mass shootings in the U.S., white supremacist terrorist attacks. But I want to start on my channel covering more topics, positive topics about Africa, as well as the news as well. And I will continue advocating for humanitarianism for all people, by all people across the world. And this is what Letty is doing. Many people will look at her and assume just on the outside that this woman is doing this for some selfish reason. But even if she is, she's doing more than you. She's doing more than most. And a lot of us travel to countries, go abroad. We go to Zanzibar. We go to the Seychelles. We go to Egypt and many other places that are touristic in Africa and abroad and other places abroad, and we ignore the poverty. We go to the most beautiful beach, eat at the nicest restaurants, and have nothing to say about the poverty that is endemic in these countries, right? And we can point to many different reasons why the poverty exists, but we have to do something about the poverty. And there are people who will advocate, there are people who will get their hands dirty and actually go out there and help the children, be with those in need, and nobody is better than the other one. We are all trying to do the best we can to try to help other people, and that's what Letty is doing, and this is an inspiration for me. I hope it's an inspiration for you. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for checking it out, and my name is Simon Hill. Peace.